We're going to see who's here, and I'm just going to kind of call off folks, and if you're here, could you just please acknowledge that for the record, starting with Adams County Communities for Drilling Accountability Now. Dave Mahone? Jay, yes, I think he said yes on the phone. That was you, Mr. Hunt, on the phone? So, Dave Mahone? No, okay. James Hill? Maria Byrne? Marna Dines? Nilsa Mahone? Stephanie Boyette? Here.
Oh, they are online.
Okay, you'll let us know who those are. Okay. Stephanie, okay, we just did. Citizens for Healthy Community. Grand Valley Citizens Alliance.
Here.
Weld Air and Water. WIC, Western Colorado Congress. Northwest Colorado Council of Governments. Town of Erie. All right, Anadarko. Bill Barrett. COGA. Colorado Petroleum Association. Colorado Petroleum Council. Extraction Oil and Gas. ExxonMobil. Noble. PDC. XTO. City of Rifle.
Here.
All right, this is the West Slope governments, excuse me. Garfield County. Mesa. Mesa County. Moffett County. Montezuma County.
Here.
Rio Blanco County.
Here.
Town of Parachute. Town of Silt. Okay, moving on. 350 Colorado. Adams County. Amanda Harper. Amadine Vamala. Bertie Busher. Boulder County. Christopher Freeborn. City and County of Broomfield. City of Boulder. City of Brighton.
Yes.
City of Commerce City. City of Fort Collins.
Yes.
City of Greeley.
Yes.
City of Longmont. City of Loveland.
Yes.
City of Thornton. Colorado Association of Home Builders. Colorado Farm Bureau. Colorado Municipal League. Dahl Winters. Dena Kemp. Doris Lovejoy. Earthworks Oil and Gas Accountability Project. Encana Oil and Gas. Jay Thomas. Jeff Thompson.
Here.
John Kelmer. Catherine Hall. Catherine Montgomery. La Plata County.
Here.
Luisa Mafde Lopez. Maria Orms. National Association of Royalty Owners. Raymond Fuller.
Here.
Sarah Bowinski.
Here by phone.
Sierra Club.
Here.
Town of Windsor. Vital for Colorado.
Here.
Weld County.
Here.
Windsor Neighbors for Responsible Drilling.
Here.
Okay. Thank you. The purpose of this pre-hearing conference is to entertain motions that have been submitted up to date, relay the order of presentation of the issues during the hearing as discussed in the stakeholder meetings, group the parties together where there is consensus, allot times for each party or group, and order the parties for the purpose of the hearing presentation, as well as discuss procedural matters for witnesses and exhibits. So starting with, there was a pre-hearing motion submitted last night by COGA, and it's saying industry would like 4 hours instead of 2. Let me address the timing issue and give you a sense of how we arrived at the time we did. We started with 2 days, recognizing there may end up being 3 if we have to push this into December, but we started with 2. So say 16 hours. We then accounted for lunch and breaks. Realistically, we thought probably 2 hours each day. That got us down to 12 hours. We then allotted 4 hours for the commission to ask questions, which, keep in mind, is an opportunity when you respond to impart your views on the subject matter. And then that left us with 8, and you can see 7 hours and 45 minutes scheduled. That said, the commissioners are willing to go until 6 p.m. on Monday, so that gives us an hour. We can certainly look at shaving down the commissioner's question time and possibly break times and shake loose a few hours. So we'll take a look at that. We do also have to take into account public comment time, and we'll know by the end of today what that looks like. So after we get all that assembled, we'll huddle, and that'll be in the pre-hearing order. Okay, so yeah, Ms. Joyce.
So, thank you so much. Jamie Joes for COGA, and that joint motion, just for purposes of clarification, was filed by CPC, CPA, COGA, and industry parties. So it wasn't just COGA for COGA. It's Friday morning.
Yes, I apologize.
Putting that on there.
I apologize. I glanced down at the very top, and there it is right there. Yes, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, we're not just going to give industry more time and not everybody else. We're going to evaluate what our hours are and then reallocate. Sure. Thank you. Any other questions before we move on? Mr. Neslin.
Yes, just to clarify, Madam Hearing Officer, yesterday's motion was submitted by the 3 trade associations for the industry: Colorado Petroleum Council, Colorado Petroleum Association, Colorado Oil and Gas Association, but on behalf of all of the industry parties, all 11 industry parties, including a number of individual companies that I won't recite here. I appreciate you don't need argument on the motion. I would just say it's a matter of great importance to the industry. We view these as particularly significant proposed rules that have significant ramifications. A first-of-its-kind duration limit, a new notice and consultation process that could add many months potentially to the current process. So we would like a fair opportunity, consistent with prior rulemakings, to address these issues with the Commission. One other issue we did not address in our motion, but I think I should mention here this morning, is if the Commission, if the process of the Commission is to hear testimony and then close the record and then deliberate possibly at the December hearing, we would urge that all of the parties be provided by group with an opportunity to make closing arguments immediately prior to the Commissioner's deliberation. Otherwise, we face a situation in which the testimony and exhibits that they've heard and received occurred several weeks before they actually deliberate on those. The parties have no opportunity to summarize in a closing the information that they've imparted. I think that would be very helpful to the commissioners as part of their deliberations, and that's something that the Commission has done in prior rulemakings. And again, I would suggest that not just on behalf of the industry, but all of the different party groups.
And Mr. Neslin, how much time would you contemplate for closing?
In prior rulemakings, I think the Commission has set aside an hour per group for this purpose. So it would end up being about a half a day. And I think that would probably facilitate the Commissioner's deliberations.
All right, Mr. Neslin, we'll take that under advisement. I appreciate your comments. That would definitely push us into December, because we can't control how many hours there are on Monday and Tuesday. So, okay, we'll take that under advisement. Okay.
Can I jump in and say something if we're going to move away from this hour of timing?
Yes, could you identify yourself?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, could you identify yourself?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Jeff Thompson, and I'm an individual. And if this is where we're going to move away from the subject of timing, I want to have the same voice and the same influence as ExxonMobil. And I think everybody else that filed for party status should have that. I don't want to be drowned out by certain parties, especially parties that have the money to do that in the public forum anyway. This should be sort of an equalizing effect. This should be a situation where my voice as a citizen doesn't, it carries as much weight and has as much time as a corporation's voice.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. We'll take that under advisement. All right, anything else before we move on? Yes.
Hi, it's Barbara Green with the Northwest COG Group, which is actually 27 different counties and towns, and then the town of Erie. And I just wanted to follow up with Mr. Neslin's proposal. For a lot of the participants in the rulemaking, the cost is enormous. It's a very expensive proceeding. And to add a whole nother half day or day if we're closing arguments might break the back of many people. So if that is a real concern that the commission can't remember what they heard, then maybe we could give everybody an opportunity to submit closing arguments in writing that they could read. So just an alternate way to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Yes.
This is Lauren Swain with 350. I wanted to make sure I understand that when in your letter, your message says that we are going to discuss these rules by subject matter. And does that mean that each of us will be testifying on each rule in succession, and then we'll move to the next rule, and each of us will be testifying on the next rule in succession? Is that how it works, or will we each have a block of time to submit our testimony?
Yes, the former. And thank you so much. That segues me perfectly into what I was just about to get into. If there aren't any other further questions, I will answer that by proceeding.
I object to that approach.
So the answer to your question is we're going to take, you object to the going subject by subject approach. Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll take that under advisement. So typically in commission proceedings, each party delivers its entire case in chief at one time. However, we are going to follow the format of the stakeholder meetings in which the proposed rules were discussed topic by topic. So the commission will hear from each party about a particular topic, for example, the definition of a large urban mitigation area facility, including any rebuttals, and then we will move on to the next topic. This allows the commission to hear discussion from all parties on a single issue at the same time, and the order is as follows: large UMA facility definition, number 1. Number 2, local government process. This would include all aspects of the process, from notice through submitting a Form 2A to the commission hearing, if any. Proximate local government, is number 3. Best management practices and mitigation numbers, number 4. Registration and the local jurisdiction and information provided to LGDs. And finally, effective date and conforming changes. Any questions on that? Yes.
Yes. Jeff Thompson again. I don't think those are actually the issues, a complete list of the issues that should be discussed. And I thought I made that clear in my pre-hearing statement. I want to talk about, I don't think that the draft statement of basis is actually a candid explanation of what this rulemaking is about. And I would like to talk about that, and I don't see where that fits in to these topics. I think these topics are too narrow.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, I was going to actually get into this when we talk about time allocation, but one thing that might be helpful to individuals is that individuals could not do it subject by subject, and could, if, for example, you have 10 minutes, you could impart all of your issues to the commission at once and then sit down rather than do it subject by subject. But we did feel for the ease of understanding for the commission that for most of the parties, it's going to work better to do it just like we did in the stakeholder meetings.
Okay, that sounds a lot better.
Okay, good. Any other? Yes.
A couple of questions.
Please identify yourself.
I'm Dan Johnston with Windsor Neighbors for Responsible Drilling. Has the commission considered the time inefficiency that this is going to create as multiple parties have to come to the podium and speak and then sit down, and another party with the large number of parties that have registered for this hearing? Seems like there will be a lot of time inefficiency.
I'm not sure there'll be a lot of time inefficiency, but we did discuss that.
Okay.
We also discussed the challenges of keeping time when you're piecemealing it that way. But we do feel that the benefit of the clarity of going subject by subject outweighs those costs.
That was my second question. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, Matt Lepore, one way we'll try to mitigate that concern is we'll try to set up like 4 microphones and tables so that we can have the person on and the person on deck and the person in the hole and whatever that thing goes with baseball. So everybody's lined up and we'll know who's next. I know the World Series just ended, sorry. So you'll know that your turn is coming. Somebody can sit down, the next person can come up. So it's a valid point. We'll try to address it.
All right, any other questions? Okay, yes.
Sarah Barwinski by phone.
Yes.
Am I on?
Ms. Barwinski, yes.
Thank you. I'd like you to consider adding a category because I do think many people who are presenting, even as groups, have concerns about what is in your outline in terms of especially the provision 3 on siting and location. So you may want to consider on the agenda one more category or a catch-all for what people think should be in the rule and has not been addressed.
Thank you, Ms. Barwinski. We'll take that under advisement. Any other questions?
Yes. You go first.
Accountability. When you have people present then by topic, are you picturing the commissioners asking questions as the person presents or after everyone presents?
As they go along. As the commission goes along, they'll ask questions.
So after somebody presents, they may ask questions of that person before the next person?
That's correct, and their questions do not cut into your allotted time.
Okay, but the idea is to then count our time for the initial discussion with the committee.
That's correct.
Dan Kramer, City of Longmont, if we're ready for him. Over here.
Yes, Mr. Kramer.
As commission staff is well aware, a number of local governments have a concern with the savings clause language in the second draft proposed rules. When would be the appropriate time to discuss that?
We forgot to ask people on the phone to mute their phones. Now might be a good time to locate the mute button on your phone. The question from Mr. Kramer of Longmont is when would be the appropriate time for those concerned to raise questions about the savings clause. Mr. Kramer, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly where. I think we put savings clauses in 2 provisions, one in the 600 series, one somewhere in the 300 series about process with local government, so I think that would be the appropriate time.
I have 2 more points to make. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. 2 more points to make. I object to this.
Again, could you identify yourself,
I'm sorry.
please?
This is Lauren Swain with 350 Colorado, and I object to this process because it places a hardship on smaller groups to have to be there the entire time throughout the 2 days. But the main point is, one of the other main points is that if you are indeed breaking down the time allocated for these different types of parties, and you're going to distribute that time accordingly for each subject, it doesn't take into account, unless you're going to measure the time in a different way, and I don't know how you would do this, it doesn't take into account that one party may want to spend 3/4 of its time on one topic and distribute the other quarter of its time throughout all the other topics. So if you're limiting their time to speak on each topic, and just breaking it down according to your protocols, I don't think that accounts for that, and that is suppressing input from those parties. Thank you.
Ms. Swain, you may allocate your time among the issues any way you see fit. We will not do that part.
Thank you.
I have a question from the phone.
Yes. Please identify yourself.
Raymond Fuller.
Yes, Mr.
So
Fuller.
as an individual, I'm going to be looking at what, a minute per topic to address the commission based on how time is going to get allocated?
As an individual, if you want, you don't have to do it. You don't have to address the commission topic by topic. You can get up and take your 10 minutes or whatever it ends up being and talk about the topics as you wish, with as much attention or lack of attention to each topic as you see fit.
Okay, but then other people are going to be granted more time as either a group or another individual. And how does that allow me to have equal participation in this process?
Well, the groups are comprised of many individuals, presumably. So, you know, we can't, if we give each individual the same amount of time as groups, this would go on for months. I mean, you know, so as an individual, another option you can do is get together and form a group if you have similar views.
But then what about the industry? Are they also going to be on the same tack? They all have the same types of views. Why wouldn't they just be clustered and only receive the same amount of time that I would have to speak?
Industry is going to allocate their time as they see fit, either in one big group or a number of subgroups. I don't know. It's up to them. And we have a question from the web. How do we get questions from the web?
Mr. Winters, I believe your question goes to whether there will be some sort of spreadsheet or compilation of all the different parties' positions prepared. And my anticipated answer is no. It's kind of on the parties to review other parties' pre-hearing statements and identify areas of alignment.
Yes.
Hi, Paul Zog. I represent OGAP. My group has 6 minutes. I would like the option as a group to also accumulate my time and not try to divide it up between 6 different subjects, if that's all right with the commission. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, again, sorry, fundamentally, our thought is that whether you are an individual or a group, if your allotted time is 10 minutes or less, and maybe we'll move that up to 12 and a half or something, you may elect to do that all at one time. We'll figure out when that happens so that you don't have to give 1 minute per topic. And just let me, for the folks on the phone, the individuals with questions about groups versus individuals, again, please recognize that the trade associations, be it the Colorado Home Builders or the National Association of Royalty Owners or the Colorado Oil and Gas Association, represent hundreds, perhaps thousands of individuals and or companies. And so their time is also, there's not a lot of time to go around. So you have to please sort of recognize that reality.
This is Jeff Thompson again, and I strongly disagree with that. A party is a party. We took our time to do these pre-hearing statements, and we did that because we all think we have something unique to say, and I represent all the people that aren't in these trade associations. That's what we individuals are. And you said something earlier, the chairman said something just a minute ago that didn't make sense to me, something to the effect that if you gave individuals the same amount of time as you give to these trade associations and industry parties, that the meeting would go on forever. And the reason that doesn't make sense is that you just have to cut back on the amount of time for industry so that they can't drown us out. I'm really the only person in this proceeding that's really representing the people of Longmont that are getting sued by the commission. And so I think I represent a whole lot more people than any of these trade associations. Why can't we just divide? Okay, we've got so much time and so many parties, just do the division and let us all have an equal voice.
Mr. Thompson, the industry groups as well as the environmental groups and the community groups they're going to group together in some fashion. There may be some that say, yeah, I want out. There may be some machination of subgroups that we haven't thought of, but they're going to group themselves up, and that's what gives them the larger amount of time. If you want to group up with other individuals, you will get more time as well. Yes.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Yes. In the back, I can't see.
Tom Witt with the Sierra Club. I'd like to reiterate a little bit about some of what people have said here about this doesn't seem to be a very workable process logistically. But in addition to that, I disagree that you're asking us to allocate the time. We had our own interest as an individual party. We're being grouped together with environmental and citizen groups all together and being given less time than industry. So that means that the allocation of our time per issue is actually less. And that was a decision made by you to allocate our time as giving each individual environmental group less time overall. I would argue that the most equitable way of doing this is to give each individual party, all of whom submitted their own pre-hearing statement, an equal amount of time to present their issues at the hearing. That seems to be the only fair way of doing it. Otherwise, you're prejudicing one industry over the environmental groups.
Thank you. I would note that industry, in the time allotments that we have in the draft that we sent you, industry has 2 hours. The environmental groups combined with the local governments have 4. I can't encourage you enough to group together. There are essentially economies of scale in grouping together. It allows for more effective messaging, more strategic messaging than people coming up one by one and repeating the same things.
But we're not repeating the same things, and we're also not local government. The task force was divided into 3 distinct groups. All of them here are not getting equal time. So we're not the same thing as a local government. So why should our vote be?
I understand. I understand. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, I don't have the microphone, Catherine Hall. And I'm going to...
We'll get you a microphone.
Oh, boy. Thank you. Catherine Hall. I signed up independently. And I'm going to deviate away from the allocation of time. I'm just curious with the request for the cost-benefit analysis and regulatory analysis, if that will in any way delay the plans for the scheduled hearing and how that will play out as far as response to those requests. Thank you.
Ms. Hall, we hope that it doesn't delay anything, because if it does, then the rulemaking is null and void and we'd have to do this all again. So the cost-benefit analysis is due today. I give you my solemn word it will be filed on time. The regulatory analysis is due next Friday, I think, but it doesn't matter because it'll also be filed today.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Excuse me, this is Lauren Swain with 350. I'd like to know how you will account for the many, many objections to the time allocation and other considerations that we've discussed here, and how you will justify, given these many objections, your approach to this, and how you will explain this to the interested parties other than the industry.
We will take everything under advisement and issue a pre-hearing order. So could we move on then and just sort of break down how we've allocated folks so we can get a sense of how you all want to group up? That is really the centerpiece of what we're here to do this morning. We need to know how you're going to group up. So what we did based on pre-hearing statements and just kind of what we know is we, with respect to local governments, for example, we have the West Slope Group that's already grouped up. Rifle, Garfield County, Mesa County, Moffett County, Montezuma County, Rio Blanco County, Town of Parachute, and Town of Silt. They filed a joint statement. And then Front Range, Boulder County, City of Boulder, Longmont, Broomfield, Brighton, Loveland, Thornton, Adams County, Fort Collins, Commerce City. We group separately Weld County, Greeley, and Windsor. And then Colorado Municipal League, La Plata County, and then Town of Erie together with Northwest COG. Are there thoughts on that before we move on? From those parties only.
This is Weld County. The concern that I have is that we're grouped with Greeley and Windsor, and that I did not see any pre-hearing statements from either of those two entities. So I don't know if the position of the county commissioners is the same or similar to their positions. My guess is that it's not. I would ask that the county commissioners have a separate amount of time, much like La Plata County has, of 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
This is Brad Mueller with Greeley.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Mueller.
If it helped facilitate discussion, we'd be willing to yield a proportionate amount of time to Weld County for separate discussion. Alternatively, Bruce, I think we could coordinate offline for how to do that. So whatever works best for all the parties.
This is Bruce Barker. That'll work just fine. Thank you.
All right, and can you let us know whether you decide to yield time, and so Weld's a standalone, or whether you decide to go as a group?
We will.
Thank you. We
Thank
can
you.
agree to that. Sure. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Sura.
Yeah, Matt Sura, Boulder County. Appreciate the attempt at doing the grouping. We have reached out to a number of those local governments, but have not yet contacted all of them. And so really don't know what, whether or not all the local governments agree to be grouped together and are going to be able to coordinate their presentation. And given that out of the 10 local governments that have been grouped together, we have 9 separate pre-hearing statements, all with varying views on all the different topics. Certainly there is going to need to be considerably more time than if all those groups, as they did on the Western Slope, just submitted one pre-hearing statement. So we'd like to look at more like 2 to 2.5 hours rather than what has been allocated. Even if all the local governments agree to work together, which we're not sure that is going to happen.
Mr. Sura, have any of them agreed to work together, or?
Yeah, we've started those discussions, but we're having to. It's going to take some time to determine whether or not there is a common position that they can have a coordinated response on all these different topics. There may be topics where we're going to have 3 different responses rather than just one.
How much time do you think it will take to figure out within that group who wants to be grouped together and who doesn't, or how subgroups might fall out, or what? Keeping in mind, again, great advantages and economies of scale in being one group.
I agree.
And having a strategic message.
I agree. Thank you.
So how long do you think, Mr. Sura? Because
we're working on that right now, and I would assume by Wednesday. Although, again, I haven't talked to them all, so I've only talked to about half of them.
That by Wednesday is not doable, Mr. Sura. I don't know what to do other than if we can't hear from you how you want to group, we'll just have to put you all separate. But you do lose those economies of scale. But we need to. So if you can figure it out sooner than that, we can certainly as we go through this, we can take a break. You can huddle with the people that are in the room right now. But we do need to know by when. Tuesday. We talked about it. Yeah, we're caucusing amongst ourselves because we were really hoping to have these groups by the end of Monday. And that fits in with the timeline that we had developed. But how about by the end of Tuesday? I mean, that's really as far out as we can possibly go. Otherwise, if we don't hear that you're part of a group, we'll assume you're separate.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Hi, good morning. This is Paul Workman. I'm with Commerce City. I would like to, I guess, sort of dovetail off of Mr. Surra's comments that these local communities, oftentimes we represent different points of view, different elected officials, and in order to represent those appropriately, some of these timelines are very constrained for us, and I guess I would like to offer to the Commission that these local jurisdictions being grouped together may not adequately allow us to represent ourselves. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You don't have to group together if you don't want to. Yes.
Hello? So I am really feeling a lot of pressure in the room from your group.
Identify yourself, please.
Oh, Amanda Harper. From the Commission, from the COGCC to the people who have reflective, thoughtful, a wide variety of views being pressed into one view. It's really easy to do with the industry. They all have one view, mostly. But with us, it's very different. We come from different points of view. We need more time. We need more time. People are asking you for more time, a lot of people. What about time frame changing to January? Give these people time to communicate with their constituents, with other counties. It takes so much time for people to communicate with each other. The industry maybe can do it all at once because they have some kind of thread of communication, but we don't have that. We haven't built that up yet. We need time.
Thank you, Ms. Harper. Again, you don't have to group up if you don't wish to. And the
That's not adequate to me, that statement.
The commission dates have been established. Thank you.
Jeff Thompson again. Please keep in mind that the individuals, and I should be in the category of an individual, not this other group, but we individuals and also these environmental groups that I'm familiar with, like 350 Colorado and the Sierra Club, we cannot hire these big 17th Street law firms to represent us. We have to represent ourselves, and so that limits the number of parties that we can have, and so we're at an extreme disadvantage just because of our, basically, you might say, our socioeconomic status. We cannot hire lawyers to analyze these rules for us and then come up with our pre-hearing statements. And so if you take that into account, I agree with Amanda Harper that we actually need more time and more consideration so that our voices don't get drowned out in this proceeding the same way they get drowned out in public in general.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. We'll take that under advisement, and then I'm hearing that you want to proceed as an individual and not part of the Wadley Farm citizens.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so just going back to local governments, if we may. For local governments, is there anything more you can tell us about how you may wish to, or how you wish to group? Local governments only.
Yes, Gary Jacobson.
Here
I'm
you go.
with the City of Thornton.
Yeah.
I've got a meeting with CML right after this meeting. I'll see if I can get them to group together, and I'll let the commission know by Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Very helpful. Anybody else in local governments, any information we can get now on how you'd like to group?
This is Brad Utabi at Fort Collins. I wanted to just ask if you're actually out of that front range group, if somebody splits off, what kind of time allocation are you thinking for that? I mean, are you thinking like 15 minutes for the ones that are not grouped together, or do you have any idea on that?
I mean, that's probably ballpark, right? It depends on how many people break off. And that's where we have to huddle and see how many individuals we have. The more there are individuals, the less time each one gets. That's the economies of scale and grouping. Not only for time, but also for strategic messaging.
Yeah, I understand. I'm definitely in favor of doing some kind of grouping for those reasons, but I think it's important for the parties that may split out of these groups to know how much time they may or may not have as a consideration.
Yeah, we just, we'll have to see what it looks like. Obviously, that'll all be set forth in the pre-hearing order, but until we know how people are proceeding, there's no way to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
This is Garfield County, representing the Western Slope governments.
Yes.
So we're fine with the way you have our time allocation. We've got a lot of governments, and we're going to share that time. Just one question is, as we get into the hearing, we figure out rebuttal we may do during the hearing, et cetera, I assume we're free to have any one of our parties speak at any time as long as we're within our time allotment. We don't have to give you a fixed thing up front now.
No, Mr. Nguyen, you do not. You can, as a group, you can proceed however you wish, with as much or little time on any particular issue as you wish, with as one spokesman or as many spokesmen as you wish.
Thank you very much. This is all well organized, despite what you're hearing.
Yes. Anything else from local governments? Any
Todd
more
Weaver,
information?
La Plata County.
Yes.
It's quite possible we'll be joining with the Front Range communities and counties. However, I'm not willing to succeed in the 15 minutes and allocated to La Plata County at this point in time.
Okay, understood. If you could let us know, please, by Tuesday, what your intentions.
Okay.
Thank you. Any more from local governments? We're hungry for information. Okay, let's move on to industry then. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Scott Belstead.
Yes. Yes. What is your question?
His question is, Windsor has not yet had any conversations with Weld County, Greeley, or other Front Range communities. Therefore, Windsor cannot commit to a group at this time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yes, Mr. Sora.
You're hungry for information. Microphone, please.
Here's one.
Matt Sura, Boulder County. Our rough estimate at this point is that we're going to need 2.5 hours, given the fact that we've got a number of different diversity of views on a number of those different topics, each one deserving their own time. When we can consolidate into one view, we will certainly want to do that for obvious reasons. But at this point, we're going to need 2.5 hours. Thank you.
Mr. Sir, can you tell me how you came up with 2.5 hours?
Given the diversity of views on the 5 topics that you chose, and having read all the pre-hearing statements, all 9 of them, there was a real variety in how the local governments that we were grouped together address those. And again, I haven't talked to Thornton. It sounds like Thornton might move on with CML, and that would, then therefore reduce that time that's needed.
So if we break out 2.5 hours by the 10 cities that are listed on the Front Range, you roughly get 15 minutes each.
That's
if
about
we
right.
do 15 minutes each times the 73 parties that we have, I can't do that in my head, but I know it's more than the 3 days that we've scheduled for this hearing. So can you help me figure out how that works?
Well, the way that it is now, we have 10 parties, and we were given 45 minutes, so that would be 4.5 minutes.
Oh, you asked for 2.5 hours, so my math is based on your 150 minutes for those 10 parties is 15 minutes apiece.
We were expecting
so 15 times 73.
In order for every one of those parties to be able to respond, we were thinking 3 minutes each on each one of the 5 topics.
Okay, so we do that for all 73 parties.
We're talking about local governments that at this point are trying to consolidate. I'm just telling you that we are trying to consolidate, and that timing could be reduced. But at this point, we don't have that information. And so what we're asking for as of this point right now would be 2.5 hours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sura. Anything else on local governments?
Yes, this is Dan Kramer again.
Yes, Mr. Kramer.
Over here. Just want to follow up on what Mr. Sura just said. I was looking at the time allocations and sort of a similar point to what the point Jeff Thompson was making. It looks like, if I'm doing math in my head, each industry participant gets about 11 minutes. Each front range government gets about 4.5 minutes. I understood you to say earlier that these groupings deserve more time than individuals, but this allocation of time still isn't really making a ton of sense to me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything? Yes.
I just did the math.
18 was 1,095 minutes divided by 60 equals 18 hours total. Our presentations of 73 parties have 15 minutes each. 18 hours total.
Not month.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Yes.
Hi, Tom Witt with Sierra Club again. Just to talk a little bit about what Mr. Sir and Mr. Kramer also mentioned as well. Yeah, we did the math and also came down with an industry having 11 minutes. I didn't do the math for local government, but 4.5 doesn't seem very equitable, and neither would the 6 minutes that would be allotted to the 3 environmental groups. I mean, it's just hard to see how this is going to be a fair process if the groups aren't being allotted an equal amount of time. I mean, it's just, we were all given the same length of time for our statements. We all have different views. We should all be able to present on the time that we have.
Thank you. We will take that under advisement. Yes.
I'm Amandine Velamala. I just wanted to point out that this second group of the front range for local government is actually highly populated and represents cities that are taking a big part of Colorado. So just I was thinking it would be nice that they might have a bigger time,
Thank you. Do we have something from the web? Okay. All right, let's move on. Industry. Any information that you can give us regarding how you'd like to group?
I mean, I can speak on behalf of.
Thank you. Based upon the joint motion from the industry parties seeking 4 hours, we have collaborated and we came in preparation of this hearing to have this discussion. We choose to utilize the time allocated as a group. Industry will be presenting on the issues specifically, and we will allocate our time to each individual issue as we deem appropriate as an industry group.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Just. Mr. Neslin.
Yeah, I would just confirm that from the standpoint of CPC and API, that I think all of the industry parties have worked together and intend to group together and utilize their time collectively.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, then moving on to environmental organizations, citizen advocacy groups, and individuals. We've heard from Mr. Thompson. He plans to go as an individual, so we have that information. Any other thoughts on our draft? Yes.
Hi, Tom Witt with Sierra Club again. And just to correct my earlier math, if we go with what industry was requesting for their 4 hours, that would actually be 22 minutes per party on industry's side. It's wonderful to see that they want to all work together on their time on that, but we would request that the environmental groups be given an equitable amount of time. If they're going to get 22 minutes, that would be 75 minutes total for the environmental groups.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Information? Yes, Mrs. Harper.
Oh, thanks. So I will be presenting as an individual as well, and I would like 15 minutes. I think with 18 hours and 3 days, we ought to be able to manage that. And I understand you guys don't want to hear repetitions of things, and maybe it's easy for the industry to not repeat and to do their presentations in a group. But I would say most city governments or most local governments and environmental groups and individuals need a nice block of time to present, and the ones that don't have to do it that way. But I feel like for fairness, I mean 18 hours in 3 days, if we all got 15 minutes, seems good.
All right, thank you, Ms. Harper. Yes.
Matt Samuelson, I'm with 5 community groups. A quick question, clarification on the agenda in terms of public comment. As you were going through the agenda, I didn't hear the time that you were thinking about for the first 2 days where public comment would be taking place, and looking for some clarification on that aspect of the timing.
Yes, and that's a wild card right now. We will know by the end of today how many folks plan to speak to the commission in the public comment period. So that is a question mark. And everybody, you know, we keep saying 3 days. We have 2 days scheduled right now. We have 2 days scheduled.
I'm curious in terms of knowing the amount of time for the public comment, but knowing that by the end of today, are you not planning on having an open comment hearing at the rulemaking hearing on the 16th? In previous rulemakings, there's a period of time for the rulemaking where the public can come up and make comments and have that 3-minute opportunity. And so I'm not following how we'll be able to track how much time that's going to be when you're by the end of today.
Mr. Samuelson, Matt Lepore. So historically, the commission has opted always to have public comment at least on the first day of rulemaking, and I don't expect that that will be different for this hearing. All we're saying is that we did ask people who were not going to be parties but felt that they would want to address the commission as part of the public comment. We asked them to let us know that by the end of today. So we'll have some sense of how many people at least pre-signed up for that.
Okay.
Public comment, I can assure you, will be at the maximum is going to be 3 minutes per person. It's probably 2.
Okay. So just for clarification, we're talking about 510 comments.
Yes, sir.
That's coming in today. And then just to be able to give people information about the public comment, are you planning on having that at the first part of the meeting on the Monday the 16th?
Again, that's kind of traditionally how we've handled it, and I would assume that would be the same.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Sorry, I'll give it back to the hearing officer.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Bernie Busher. I've filed as a party. I'm a member of the task force. I anticipate that my comments would be 2 or 3 minutes and an opportunity for response or to any questions that are asked. But I can't imagine taking more than that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Busher.
Well, this is Lauren with 350. I just want to clarify. Did you say that groups have the option of responding to each of the subject matters or using their time as one block? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, our thought was that the bigger groups would go subject by subject, but that for individuals, for you to get up and quickly do one issue for 1 minute and sit down and then do another issue for 30 seconds and sit down would be a little too chaotic. So we thought for the individuals, it might make more sense for you just to impart all of your thoughts to the commission at once.
But groups also have that option if they so choose?
Yeah, no, not if they have more than 15 minutes, no. We want to go subject by subject.
I'm confused. I thought you said that groups did have the option of testifying in one block.
The groups are going to go topic by topic to accommodate individuals who do not wish to be part of a group, who have a very short period of time. We thought it would be good to allow you to present everything at once rather than piecemeal. But for the groups, they'll go topic by topic.
Every group is required to go topic by topic. Is that correct?
Ms. Way, Matt Lepore. So under the draft allocation, there were 4 environmental organizations 3 environmental organizations that were allocated 20 minutes. If you each took an equal amount of that time, you each could do your shot all in one shot. You don't have to divide up that 7 or 10 minutes. Anybody who has less than 15 minutes can go all at once. Does that make sense?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
If we have 20
Get the microphone back, please.
If we have 20 minutes each, do we have to divide that 20 minutes between the subjects and go up and talk about each subject, or are we allowed to speak that 20 minutes and complete our testimony for the entire rulemaking?
No, if you have 15 minutes or more, you need to do it by subject.
Thank you.
Yes.
Dan Johnston with Windsor Neighbors again. Two issues. One is for the community groups, environmental groups. You've allocated less amount of time than for the industry and for local governments, and yet if you look, there are a large number of parties who've signed up. First of all, we would request an equal amount of time allocated to industry and to local governments. The second issue, Windsor Neighbors chose to submit a separate pre-hearing statement. We would like to not group with the other community groups, and we would like the full 15 minutes or the proportional amount of time, however that's allocated.
Okay, thank you for that second, and Mr. Lepore is going to address your first comment.
You'll have to say it again for me, Dan. I'm sorry, I was distracted.
As far as the environmental groups and the community groups, we've been allocated a less amount of time than the industry or local governments, and yet there are a large number of individuals and a large number of parties. We would request an equal amount of time as the industry and the local governments in total for the super group.
I appreciate that. We'll strive to make the allocation as fair as we can. I'm not going to promise you that everybody's going to get the same amount of time. It's just there's too many parties and too little time, and the major stakeholders this rule affects most immediately are the industry and local governments, so they are likely to get a slightly larger share of time.
This is Jeff Thompson, and that is simply not the case that that industry is going to be most impacted by this. I'm going to be far more impacted by this than any of these corporations that aren't even human beings. They're just corporations. They haven't located their families in Colorado necessarily. How can you possibly say, and this is just a rhetorical question, I mean, how far away from reality can we get to say that these corporations are going to be impacted more than human beings like me?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Anything else on, yes?
Matt Samuelson with the Impacted Community Groups. I think recognizing that these are the groups who are experiencing this sort of development, that we're going to request an hour, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samuelson. Yes.
Catherine Hall, I registered or signed up as an independent party. I recognize that Amanda Harper was also grouped in as has requested to speak independently. I emailed yesterday to Ms. Murphy and would like to request 15 minutes. I would like to address, and to be independent on that, I'd like to address a very data-driven and fact-based approach, and I feel like I would be able to respond to each one individually going through the 5 topics, but if I were limited to the allocated 5 minutes, I feel like that would not suffice. But I do feel like I could offer something different.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hall. We have you as going independent.
Sarah Barwinski.
Yes, Ms. Barwinski.
Yes, I'm also down as independent, and that's fine. I would request 14 minutes. I would like to go all at once with a cohesive presentation. And I also want to register my disappointment that Greeley would think its issues are best represented by Weld County. I think that constituents would disagree, and that's another reason I think I need more time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Barwinski.
Brad Mueller from Greeley.
Yes, Mr. Mueller.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify what the county and I agreed upon. That was to just discuss how we would be either allocating our time to speak separately or to coordinate on timing. We will not necessarily be representing the same information.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Brad.
Thank you.
Okay, so far, and I want to note for the record, Dahl Winters is joining the Adams County Communities for Drilling Accountability now. We have Mr. Thompson, Ms. Barwinski, Ms. Hall, Ms. Harper, Mr. Busher, all going alone, as well as Windsor Neighbors for Responsible Drilling. Any more information that we can get right now on how this group would like to group or not group up?
Hi, this is Raymond Fuller.
Yes.
I would like to go as an individual, but I have a problem that I have a business trip for the 3 days that you guys are holding the hearing, and I didn't think you would accept a motion to move the hearing. So could I go? I would like to reserve my time, but then I would also like, if I can't get my schedule changed, to be able to go through and give it to one of the other groups.
Okay, thanks, Mr.
I'm sorry I provided you with this thing. We're individuals. We have jobs. And I'm supposed to be in Buffalo, New York for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Well, how much would my time allotment be as an individual?
I have no idea at this point. We need to see how all this groups up.
Okay. It sounds like other people are requesting time. I would like to request 14 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Fuller, we have you right now going independently.
Okay. And will I be able to allocate my time to another group? You have to allow me to speak at these hearings even if I can't be there in person. Would you guys entertain a motion to go through and move it to the following week?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Fuller.
Yes, but it wouldn't take us very long.
All right.
Well, you can see I have extenuating circumstances. It is not a ploy of trying to go through and gain time. It is a real life situation. I can provide you my travel documents if necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Yes.
Yes, I will be able to allocate it if I can't get my travel moved.
No, you may not.
Amanda Harper here.
Then I'm gonna go through and allocate my time to ACC Dan then.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fuller.
And I am going to go through and protest this. I believe that this is an absolute ridiculous process where you're trying to box all of these comments into some time allotment that I don't even understand why you wouldn't take more to go through and hear about the importance of these things.
That's right.
I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fuller. Yes.
I really agree with Mr. Fuller's last statements. I think that this is a very important situation, and you've done such a good job of gathering everybody together here, and then we get cut off. It's really sad. And something I want to say is, why does the COGCC need 75 minutes at the beginning? I'm wondering about that. Take some of those minutes and spread them out to the people who are here to speak, who've spent their time. I'm losing money today being here. I need to be able to speak, and so do a lot of other people. We need to say our unique points of view.
Ms. Harper, I will do my very best to keep my time to 60 minutes and give 15 minutes to somebody else.
I have a question. This is Lauren Swain with 350. If as a group we would like to speak in one block, can we opt to take only 14 minutes and do that rather than respond to each subject matter?
I'm sorry, one more time. If you get 14
You said that
minutes,
the parties who were taking less than 15 minutes had the option to speak all at one time, give their testimony all in one block rather than go subject by subject. So if as a group we feel that we can make our statement in 14 minutes, do we have the option of speaking in one block of testimony rather than subject by subject?
I'm totally confused.
Ms. Swain, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
By grouping, do you mean because 350 is an organization or a group, you're interpreting that as needing to go subject by subject, or?
Yes, that was what I thought you had said.
I think that we've used the term group a little bit loosely, and by group, we mean if there are a group of parties that has more than 15 minutes. But 350 Colorado, if you want to go individually, you could go if you have less than 15 minutes. Does that help?
We could take, we could speak, give all our testimony in one block and not by subject if we speak for only 14 minutes.
And if you're not joining the Sierra Club,
right?
Then yes.
Yeah, we'll speak independently. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Catherine Hall. I don't know if this is helpful or completely against the way it normally works. A lot of the parties are asking for additional opportunity to speak. Is there some way that parties that feel that they are not allocated enough time, that in light of the limited amount of time that we have for the hearing, could those individuals or groups that feel underrepresented have the opportunity to submit an additional statement day of, just so that their comments are heard? Is that something that at least could, for time reasons, kind of help with that? It's just a thought. Sorry.
I appreciate the thought, Ms. Hall. I am willing to bet my net worth that if we give you an opportunity to submit anything else, then everybody else will want the same opportunity.
Okay. I actually wasn't even asking for me. I had no intention of that. I just was hoping maybe that was something that would help.
Yep, I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yes.
I am not. Okay. This is Jackie Kowalski with Adams County Communities for Drilling Accountability Now. I wasn't sure if we were supposed to be speaking up, but I did want to let you know where our group was. We had been able to coordinate with about 11, I believe 12 now people who have coordinated our statement, but there are a number of people in that group that we have not had communication with. I am asking you to tell me, once we are able to communicate with them, what should I suggest people do if they are not on the same page with our group? So I think we had just short of 20 people in that group. Again, I've been able to coordinate with about 12 of them. As we go forward from here, the people who maybe don't share the same statement as us, what do I tell them to do as I'm trying to coordinate with them? What is their avenue?
They can either go it alone or they can group up with other individuals who are similarly minded.
Can they do that as of what time and date? Does that have to happen by the end of today?
We would like to know by Tuesday how you're grouping. And if we don't hear that you're a member of a group, we are assuming you're going alone.
Okay, so so if somebody on our list of people that have been grouped together actually would like to join with our statement, do they need to officially notify you of that so that they are not automatically put as a loner?
Yes.
Okay.
If you are going to be in a group, we need to hear from you. If silence means you're going alone.
So should the people who I have spoken to, the 12 I'm telling you are on the same page, do they need to get something into you specifically saying that now?
You can say it right now.
Well, some are on the phone and everywhere, or can we submit one?
Just submit one.
One thing by Tuesday, correct? By Tuesday?
Yeah, and what I would do, I would ask that you, as the leader of the ACTAN group, if you would let us know who is part of your group.
Okay.
And if you happen to know who is split off, then let us know that too.
Okay, and by Tuesday again is sufficient. Thank you.
Thanks. I do hope that everyone understands that the more individuals we have, the less time all of those individuals are going to be allocated. That's just how the math works.
Well, for clarification, Jeff Thompson again, it shouldn't be just the group of individuals. It should go back to what I thought was said at the beginning of this meeting that we give parties, each party should have the same amount of time. I thought that's what was said when we began this, and now it seems like we're lapsing back to where we're going to give some categories of parties more time than others.
Mr. Thompson, that was your opinion and belief, and if I indicated to you that I agreed with that, I apologize.
Tom Witt with the Sierra Club. There's been a lot of discussion here about, it seems to be there are a lot of parties on this side that would like to get at least an equal amount of time for all the parties. I think that would seem to be the most fair approach for the process. I would like to hear what the justification is for not allotting each party the same amount of time. Why different parties should have a different amount of, a lesser amount of time.
I was cognizant of Julie, I apologize.
Can I ask it again?
Yes.
So Tom Witt with Sierra Club, I would like to maybe get some kind of justification for why each individual party shouldn't have the same amount of time. We all have equal party status in this rulemaking. Allotting a different amount of time for each individual group doesn't seem equitable or fair at all. So I'd like to hear what the justification for giving each group a different, different amounts of time is.
Mr. Witt, I think I've already responded to that question, so I appreciate your reiteration of your point, and your position is noted.
This is Raymond Fuller. Hi, this is Raymond Fuller. I have the same question. How do you guys pick and choose? And I don't know if it has been clear.
Will you hold one moment, Mr. Fuller?
Brain damage.
So everyone has had an opportunity to file their written statements. The commission will read all of the written statements. We have a limited amount of hearing time. We have to allocate that hearing time in the way that seems most appropriate to us based on who the stakeholders are, who the parties are, etc. If you are a group such as Sierra Club, you represent a number of stakeholders. We assume that you can speak for that group of stakeholders, just the same way that Erie can speak for its constituents, etc. If you want to choose to be an individual and speak, we will provide time for you to do that. I cannot say that I'm going to provide the same amount of time for an individual as I am for someone like the city of Longmont, for example. As I said a little while ago, the rules here will have the most direct effect on the regulated community and on the local governments for whom these two recommendations from the task force were directed. I certainly understand citizens are affected by oil and gas drilling, and we have, I think as Ms. Harper acknowledged, done our best to open the doors to allow input from those stakeholders as well. So I'm sorry if we had all the time in the world. Maybe we could arrange that everybody could have as much time as they wanted and an equal amount of time. That's not the reality. It's never been the way that commission hearings have been conducted. And again, we will, with the limited amount of time we have, we'll divide it up as best we can.
So just to clarify, you are saying then that the party status is not equal, that there are different grades of party status, that the party status here is not equal amongst all the parties.
It's pretty clear that that's not what I said, sir, but you're welcome to interpret it as you wish.
This is Jeff Thompson again. So the bottom line is you're going to exercise, the commission is going to exercise its discretion as it sees fit which is most likely to give ExxonMobil Corporation and Anadarko more influence in this hearing than I'm going to have, and you're saying that your justification for that is that's the way the commission has already done things. And I would just like to make one point, is that the integrity of the commission has been questioned, and it will be questioned if you do that. If you give ExxonMobil Corporation more influence over these rules than you give me or the Sierra Club or any other party, I hope you understand that people are watching, people are seeing what is happening, and they are questioning the integrity of the commission's proceedings.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fuller. Thompson, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes, Mr. Samuelson.
Matt Samuelson. If you are going to go by categories, I'd just like to reiterate that there's the need to have sort of a catch-all category for different topics that are not actually going to fit neatly into the 6 subject matters that you already have.
Okay, thank you. Keep in mind too, right now we do have a hearing that's scheduled for 2 days right now. There is the possibility of a 3rd day, and you can always ask the commission for additional time. Often folks think they need more time, and then they get into the hearing and they find out that actually they didn't need as much time as they thought. So there are some options as we move through this process. Okay. Yes. Ms. Harper.
Okay. For the record then, I'm officially asking the commission to add another day so that we have 18 hours and 15 minutes are there for every single party, or 14 minutes, and it may or may not get taken. If it was 6 hours a day of this presentations, it would be manageable for everybody's mind, and you could come. You'd know the day you were coming. You would know if you couldn't come on a Monday or a Tuesday, you could come on the Wednesday.
Ms. Harper, thank you for that. It at this point seems almost inevitable to me that we will have a 3rd day of hearing. But I also want you to kind of understand the math, because I appreciated your 18 hours. It was actually very helpful to kind of put that in context. But in addition to that time that we're talking about here, the 15 minutes or the 14 minutes that we add up, the commissioners ask questions, and the commissioners need time to deliberate. And we all need time to occasionally use the facilities and nourish ourselves. So the 18 hours, I just want you to understand that when you say that we need 18 hours, that's of somebody at the microphone talking. Literally, that's a stopwatch on somebody. And to get 18 hours of testimony and do all the other things is at least an additional 8 hours on top of that. So that's 26 hours spread over several days. So I just want you to understand that it's not just that we would need 3 days and we would automatically get to 18 hours. So just bear in mind that almost certainly we'll be seeing each other again in December for an additional day of hearing. And if the commission determines that there is more time required, then they can figure out how they're going to accomplish that.
All right, if we have any more information on how you plan to group or not, I'll take that now. Otherwise, let's move on to exhibits and witnesses. Yes, sir, on how you plan to group.
This is Kevin Galloway. I'm talking for the last group on behalf of the Colorado Association of Home Builders, so I don't think we got to our group.
Yes, I apologize. That was my bad. I'm sorry.
I have spoken with the National Association of Royalty Owners. However, I have not seen a pre-hearing statement from the Farm Bureau or Vital for Colorado, so I don't know their intentions yet. But as far as we are looking, we are a pretty diverse group as a catch-all at the end there. On behalf of home builders, we'd request 15 minutes. And based on prior hearings, typically I would assume we'd be going topic by topic as well. Some topics we will not address as they don't impact us.
Very helpful. Thank you very much. And I apologize again that I skipped over that last group. I got ahead of myself. So from trade and other groups, comments on grouping. Yes, sir.
Neil Ray with the National Association of Royalty Owners. We kind of caucused here for a minute when this was happening, and the royalty owners are fairly limited in their scope, and they're not interested in the technical stuff as much as we are property rights. The home builders pre-hearing statement was a lot more technical from a legal standpoint, and he's right. We haven't heard from Vital or the Farm Bureau yet, but I think 15 minutes each will be enough.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very helpful. Yes. More on groupings.
Yeah. Jackie Kowalski with Acton. I would just say if we could have more time, perhaps 30 minutes, I might be able to bring more people under our grouping, in the sense that there's a very diverse group of people who would either make their own points or would share our time if they thought they could make some as well. So I would respectfully ask for 30 minutes for that group in hopes that I could coordinate more.
Thank you for that, recognizing that we can't allocate times until we know what the groups are.
Ms. Kowalski, can I ask, is ACTAN and are Wadley Farm citizens separate from ACTAN?
They can be. I mean, not everybody in Wadley Farms is a supporter of our organization, but certainly a great deal of Wadley Farms people and those who have come to this generally are, but people have their own voice as well.
So when you asked for 30 minutes, was that for ACTAN?
Correct, under that grouping. Yeah, correct. You're right. Yes.
Thank you.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on groupings? On groupings.
Hi, Garen Borthman, Colorado Farm Bureau. I would just echo what the home builders and NARO said. I think 15 minutes would be sufficient for our interests as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Very helpful. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Rich Coolidge with Vital for Colorado. Before I start, I just want to thank you guys. This has been a very thorough rulemaking process. I've been involved in other rulemakings and other agencies, and this has been incredibly thorough, and really appreciate that. One of the other things that some of the agencies do is they'll keep the record open after the public hearing. That might be an option for you to, as an additional catch-all for people to submit written comments and things they didn't say as part of that rulemaking. But for us, we're happy to work with the other people in our group and give them what we want them to present.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yes, Dan Kramer, Longmont. I just wanted to follow up on the issue of rationale for who gets how much time. Now we're hearing groups say they'd like 15 minutes. Some groups get 15 minutes. Some groups get 10 minutes. There was a question earlier about justification for how this time is divvied up, and Mr. Lepore, your answer had to do with individuals and groups. I want to ask, is there a rationale for how some groups or representative governments get more time than others?
The allocations were our best judgment on what to do with 73 parties in a limited amount of time.
All right.
Can I, Cindy Bargel by phone, can I offer one further comment from NARO? I know you want to move on.
Yes.
NARO represents hundreds of mineral interest owners who are directly impacted by these rules. Vital also hundreds of different organizations. You've heard that there are varied perspectives, and we are glad to work with these groups. We appreciate all the time you spent trying to work together, and if there are any differences, we will let you know before Tuesday.
Thank you very much. It's very helpful. So having, I think, extracted all the information we can on groupings, we can possibly move on to expert witnesses and exhibits. With respect to witnesses, Please submit your expert witness list by Tuesday the 10th to the DNR COGCC email. And that, I think most of you know by now, is DNR_COGCC .rulemaking, all one word, at state.co.us to that website and all other parties. Objections to witnesses must be received by Thursday the 11th. Same to that website and all other parties. Do I have that wrong? It's Thursday the 12th? I'm sorry, Thursday the 12th. Excuse me. Objections will be entertained at the commission hearing. With respect to hearing exhibits, the commission will have all pre-hearing statements, including exhibits, responses, written comments, and information available on the Governor's Task Force ruling website by Tuesday the 10th. And complete packets will be sent to the commissioners the same day. If any party wants to submit a separate exhibit, it must be sent to all parties and posted on that website on or before Monday, November 9th for inclusion in the packet to the commissioners. That's additional exhibits beyond your pre-hearing statements. If any party, these dates are important because if you cannot provide it electronically by the 9th, then you have to bring 15 copies for the commission and staff, as well as provide either a hard copy or electronic copy to all the other parties. So best to get it on that website.
Part, the exhibit part. Would you please explain the exhibit part again? I'm sorry, I've never done this before. Here.
Right. If you have exhibits that you did not attach to your pre-hearing statements, so additional exhibits, then we're hoping you can put that on the website that I just gave you and submit to all other parties by the end of day on Monday, November 9th. If you have additional exhibits, you may not. Most probably won't. Yes. Yes, electronically to everybody. Right. Some people have attachments to their briefs for whatever reason that help illustrate something. I gather from that question you probably don't have exhibits, and that's fine. A lot of people don't. If you have exhibits and you don't have them by Monday, then you can bring them to the commission hearing, but you need to bring hard copies for the commission and then also hard copies or electronic copy to all the parties. Ms. Hall.
Yes, could you please just repeat the website address again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
DNR_COGCC .rulemaking, all one word, at state.co.us. Mr. Sura.
Matt Sura, Boulder County. Just for clarification, if there was a PowerPoint presentation that wasn't prepared until the day of, that would be an exhibit, I would assume, and that you would want us to provide hard copies of that the day of?
Matt, it's Matt Lepore. We were just talking back here about the PowerPoints. If you're going to use a PowerPoint for your presentation, the exhibits that are in that should have been submitted previously. And we're going to have to get those, I think, in advance so that we can put them on a laptop, because otherwise I don't see how on Monday morning, if we get 14 PowerPoints or 25 PowerPoints, that's not going to work. So I think if you plan to use that kind of demonstrative for your presentations, we need to have those from you in an electronic format that we can load on a laptop by Friday. Friday the 13th.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hang on one second. And yeah, please don't include in those PowerPoints any exhibit that you haven't previously submitted to the commission. Friday the 13th of November, 2015. No, just talking about if you want the commission to be looking at a PowerPoint slide of some kind that's going to be your presentation materials that you're going to speak from, that needs to be submitted by Friday the 13th. The exhibits, the documents, if you have a document in there about, you know, you have a picture in there that you want to use, that needs to have been submitted previously to the commission as part of your pre-hearing statement or your response. Monday?
Would you reconsider, this is Sarah Barwinski by phone, and I think PowerPoints are a good way to educate the commission, and I'm not sure that hearing today that it needs by Monday is, I think it kind of prevents that visual aid from being effective. So I appreciate the Friday date, but to have all your pictures by Monday may actually limit that as an educational tool for the commissioners. And I was hoping you might reconsider that the PowerPoint is just due Friday the 13th.
We don't think this, Mr. Neslin, yes.
Mr. Wanstone.
The commissioner packets is one matter, but the parties to prepare potential rebuttal and cross need to see those exhibits well in advance as well.
Mr. Lepore and Madam Hearing Officer, you know, this issue of when exhibits are due, I would suggest that under the APA, what the Administrative Procedures Act contemplates is people can come and testify to the commission at the hearing. And there's no suggestion that they've got to have submitted their material a week ahead of time or pre-submitted exhibits. I understand why you want the exhibits Monday so that the commissioners can receive them and consider them before the hearing. That's perfectly appropriate. But I don't think that should prohibit someone from using an exhibit at the hearing otherwise, with the understanding that the commissioners won't have previously received it or had an opportunity to consider it.
Well, right, Mr. Leslin, that's why we said if you don't have it by the 9th, then just bring 15 copies for the commission and make sure all the other parties have it as well, either by hard copy or electronically.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Wanstone? Oh.
Sarah Barwinski, just to be clear then, so for a PowerPoint, if we bring 15 hard copies and make sure all parties receive it by the 13th, then that would be acceptable. Because it really is to facilitate their digestion of it. But that would not have to be by Monday, given your response to the last person.
Right. Yeah, we're just dealing with, sorry, we're caucusing amongst ourselves because we're dealing with logistical issues. I mean, you bring PowerPoints at the last minute, we've got to load them and everything else.
Right, exactly.
So. Yeah, you know what, we need, can we iron that out and we'll let you know in the pre-hearing order.
Which we will receive by when? If you're saying the exhibits in a PowerPoint have to be by Monday, we would need an answer to that question. I certainly have no trouble with getting it to you in advance. I understand the logistics. I just don't want those visual aids to be treated differently than somebody who would just come. But certainly respecting your need to have the time to work that out. Right. We need to know that if you expect something by this coming Monday.
A lot of folks won't have anything supplemental in terms of exhibits, but for those that do, we're hoping to get them by Monday. If you can't get them by Monday, okay. Just make sure that the commission you have 15 copies for the commission, and it's provided to all parties, either in hard copy or electronically. In terms of PowerPoints, we're in a little bit of a quandary just because of logistical issues of having to load things and make sure that this flows. Okay, does that make sense?
Right. And it's just I think the controversy was around exhibits that might be in PowerPoint. Having by Monday, and I think you've answered it. And I'll get something to you soon, but it won't be Monday.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be by Monday.
Okay.
Kirby Wynn.
Hey, yeah, just a question on the witness list. If our witnesses are simply local government staff, elected officials, people directly tied to our governments, do you need an advanced list of who may speak? Or are you just talking about expert witnesses we might hire and bring?
All witnesses. We'd like to get a sense of all witnesses.
Okay.
Could you identify yourself?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Enrique has it.
Okay, Ms. Hall.
Okay. Thank you, Catherine Hall, individual. I just wanted to, I have a quick question as far as logistics. I know I had requested the time, the 15 minutes, to be able to speak to each point at the time they are raised instead of a single statement. I know that's still all being discussed internally, but when would we be finding out kind of where we would be allotted and how we would be allotted time? And then two, given that that could certainly change what we would be looking at as far as an exhibit, how should I be handling that, or others be handling that?
Okay. Yeah, we're going to have all that in the pre-hearing order. And we anticipate, we've jostled some of the dates. If you see us caucusing among ourselves, it's because we've moved stuff around to give people more time to group up. So at this point, I think the pre-hearing order would be out by Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday of next week?
Wednesday.
Wednesday of next week.
Gotta be by Wednesday.
Well, what about? Yeah. We did have it much earlier, but if you need till Tuesday to group up, then we can't do a pre-hearing order until we know what that is. If we don't have everybody coming in till the end of the day, by the end of the day Tuesday, we'll know, okay, this is who we know is grouping up. We haven't heard from these folks. They're obviously going by themselves. Then we can draft the pre-hearing order. Until then, we can't. We were hoping to get a little better sense of that before then, but that's okay. But that's why we're pushing the pre-hearing order out, to accommodate that. Mr. Sura?
Yeah, Matt Sura, Boulder County. I appreciate that you have moved the grouping up deadline to Tuesday. Might I suggest that you also move that witness list as well, given that when we're grouping up, that'll be a good opportunity for us to determine which witnesses make sense for that group.
Yeah, I think that's right, Mr. Sura. I think we're gonna have to push that out a day as well. So Wednesday, right? Wednesday's the 11th.
Just real quick, again, this is Paul with Commerce City. Just as a point of order, Wednesday is Veterans Day, and a lot of local jurisdictions will be closed that day.
Oh, us too.
So may want to consider that point.
So you still promise
Seriously. I mean, Ms. Joss, can you wait a minute?
Absolutely.
We haven't answered Mr. Sura's question. Mr. Sura, are you saying that you won't know your grouping until by the end of day Tuesday, so you can't possibly know who your witnesses are until Wednesday? Don't you think you have a sense of the witnesses? I mean, it's difficult when we're trying to rearrange a schedule on the fly like this.
My understanding is that you have asked for a witness list by Monday, and I suggested that why not have it at the same deadline?
Witness list is Tuesday. Tuesday.
Groups and witness list is Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday. Okay, so that's settled. Okay. Ms. Joss.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate your comment if it's settled, but can you just take a step back and clarify exactly what you're talking about right now? Because, and I hate to say this, but I'm missing some of the timing and how this is working for all the discussions that just occurred. We have our responses due to pre-hearing statements on Monday the 9th. So maybe just engage me with this for a minute. The witness list would be due the 10th with objections on Thursday the 12th. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. For purposes of exhibits, there's been supplements or exhibits attached to pre-hearing statements likely to responses as well. For purposes of clarification, any exhibits that haven't been submitted with those will be brought in hard copy and electronic format at the day of the hearing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then for purposes of basically groups gathering together and getting all this set out, is that now Wednesday and the pre-hearing order won't come out Wednesday, or is that now Tuesday still?
We need to know the groups by Tuesday at the very latest.
Okay, and so just a point on that, I believe the point of a pre-hearing conference is to come prepared to address that at a pre-hearing conference. And so I'm not knocking anyone that wasn't prepared, but I want to make sure that, we are following this because this has been a quickly scheduled hearing as well. We've all been on a short deadline. There are other parties involved in this than local governments and citizens, and we very much respect that, but all parties need the ability to ensure that we have early communication and early ability to prepare for whatever is going to come up at the hearing on Monday and Tuesday. So I just wanted to clarify those dates so everyone was aware what we were dealing with. So thank you for that.
Yes, and thank you, Ms. Joss. And I will say, for some of these groupings, industry is accustomed to talking to each other all the time, and some of these groupings aren't. And so for them to try and collect themselves and sort out who thinks what and whether they're a group or not, it's a little more cumbersome for them. Yes, thank you, Ms. Joss. Ms. Green.
Just can't turn this on. I have a follow-up question that Jamie made me think of. I'm not familiar with the process where people object to witnesses, so could you just briefly say what the rule is on why somebody would object, and then when will the parties know whether or not their objection has been granted or denied?
I think the concern is that in prior commission proceedings, there have been objections to certain witness testimony and expertise. And so if we can get everybody on the same page about what expertise and what witnesses are being proposed, we can know whether there will be an objection. And if there's no objection, we don't have to go through the formalities of swearing or qualifying an expert in particular is the best example.
So if there are objections to John Brown, then that would be taken up at the commission hearing
Correct.
itself.
Correct.
So the witness still has to come and not know whether he will be heard.
That is a risk.
Okay. And are there grounds in the APA for why you would object to a witness in a rulemaking? This is not a quasi-judicial proceeding.
Those are lovely questions for our commissioners.
So there isn't a rule we should be looking at?
I don't have the entire rule book in my head at this very second. I have a lot of party conversations going through it, so I would have to look more precisely.
Okay, thanks.
Hello?
Okay.
I have a question. Would it be possible to get notes from this? As good of a note taker as I tend to be, I cannot take notes on this meeting. There are so many terms and processes that are happening that I don't understand, that I can't write them all down. And I'm wondering if notes could be given by the end of this day it would just be greatly appreciated. I don't even know what the six things that people are going to talk about. I need to see those and understand those, and then all these dates. And what do you think? It'd be great, please.
Ms. Harper, much of that was in the email that you received. All the groupings and time allocations will be in the pre-hearing order. If you need any clarification about when things are due, Julie Murphy will be happy to talk to you after we adjourn in a few minutes. All right, so then if there's nothing else on that, we will have the pre-hearing order to you Wednesday of next week. Happily, Veterans Day is what we call a soft holiday with the state. All right, anything else? If not, all right, I think we're adjourned. Thank you.